There are thousands of non-speakers that still are trapped inside their bodies that cannot communicate, either because people don't believe spelling is real and won't help them get access to it, or because it's too expensive and unaffordable and inaccessible for family members to gain the knowledge of how to do.
You mentioned in the beginning when you were talking about the origin story of the telepathy tapes that you suffered the loss, the death of some people that were close to you, and that you were asking big questions in your life of, what can I do to contribute to knowing why we're here, what's really going on, and where we're going. And I wonder, when you look at those questions now, like why we're here, where we're going, how do you answer those questions for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I think there is a baseline from which we start and return. And I think people could call that universal consciousness. You could call it the information field. You can call it God. You can call it heaven. I do think it's all talking about the same thing. And I think that is very real. Um, and I think Earth is an incredible school of learning. We have to learn to love and to sacrifice. If you're doing things right, you learn those things. Um, and it's all the same lessons. I mean, the non-speakers talk about it too, right? Without any agenda, without any need to prove themselves. They're not, for the most part, or haven't historically been able to become social media stars or TV celebrities or great authors or writers because of the limitations that have been forced upon them. But non-speakers will all say it's about that we're one, that love each other. We're not separate. Um, how you make people feel matters. And so I think all those things from the greatest religions in the world are true, and that's why we're here to learn them. And it can be brutal along the way, but that this is a gift to be here and learning, to love and to be more present and to experience the world fully. But your body is a temporary package in which consciousness will animate itself. And one thing we're going to look at in season 3 is reincarnation and how that squares with world religions, what we know has been studied around it, what hasn't been studied, what when little kids have memories that weren't from their life, what does that mean? And do we reincarnate? I mean, I guess we'll find out in season 3, right? But yeah, I don't think this is just a quick temporary dark situation that we come and die. I think that we're growing and learning a lot as we're here, and it's doing wild benefits for the non-physical part of ourselves, which you could call soul, or you could call it a droplet of the universal consciousness.
And finally, you're not just a storyteller, but when I tune in, you're an advocate. You're an advocate, I mentioned this in the introduction, for the dignity and respect for non-speaking individuals and for their lives and for their rights, if you will. And I wonder if we could end on that note. For example, I heard that you have even hired some non-speaking
Yeah.
individuals to be part of the crew on
hmm
the film.
Yeah. So we hired 5 non-speakers to be on the film. There's 2 helping with story, 2 consulting on graphics, and 1 consulting on science. Um, Anthony, who's our non-speaking science advisor, has been on all the scientific phone calls with the science team that was working in Chicago. The GFX graphics non-speaking team has helped us with what the hill should look like, that type of thing. So, they are essential. It's their stories, their lives, and I think that is the biggest thing I would like people to walk away with is, you know, even in the autism world, I think non-speakers often get the shortest end of the stick. There are schools for people that are on the spectrum or neurodiverse in some way that even non-speakers aren't able to go to because apraxia is so difficult. You have a hard time controlling your body, speaking, um, doing what you want your body to do. You are fully aware of what's going on. You're extremely as intelligent as you should be for your age, or if not even more so. However, you just cannot communicate it. And then through spelling, which is an incredible tool that can take months or years to learn, but Once you learn the motor control to be able to spell, I've watched many non-speakers learn to spell independently into an iPad, into a QWERTY keyboard, fully be able to spell, but you often need a communication regulation partner just to help keep your body intact, of tap you when you forget where your body's at, help you refocus if you lose sight of the board. There's all that stuff. And right now, spelling is not taught in schools. It's expensive to have a communication regulation partner in a classroom with a non-speaker. That needs to change. Every single non-speaker needs a CRP with them so that they can engage in society, in life, in work, in education. And that's the biggest thing. Like, you might be interested in telepathy or, whatever we talk about in the telepathy tapes. These individuals aren't magical. We all have those gifts. We should be in all of each other. This is a human capacity dating thousands of years back that we just need to reconnect with. And I think the non-speakers who say they have this gift, it's because, like so often happens, your other senses aren't working as well or have betrayed you in some way. And they don't feel as in touch with their body. So of course they're maybe more in touch with the fundamental field of consciousness. And as many people as that can advocate for non-speakers, have a space in schools, in regular classrooms, in the workforce, but most importantly have a CRP with them, because they can't really function without a CRP.
Yeah.
That's important. And I know there's a lot of we just started a nonprofit foundation called the TTT Education and Impact. And we plan to start granting money to families so they can learn to spell, but also once a film is out, bring the film with spelling workshops around the country so that hopefully we can get more kids on the boards. Because the biggest tragedy, like the thing that keeps me up at night, is that there are thousands of non-speakers that still are trapped inside their bodies that cannot communicate, either because people don't believe spelling is real and won't help them get access to it, or because it's too expensive and unaffordable and inaccessible for family members to gain the knowledge of how to do. So that all needs to change. And if for any reason at all, people who haven't listened to Telepathy Tapes should listen to it just to get to know these individuals and their minds and how beautiful they are.
In preparing Ky for our conversation, I thought of this quote that I learned when I interviewed Krista Tippett a long time ago. She said, "Tammy, change happens from the margins. It doesn't happen from the center. It happens from the edges." And I thought of that in the work that you're doing, how from the margins you have contributed to be a great change maker in our world. And as I said, I really admire you. Ky Dickens, thank you so much. Thanks, friends, for being with us. Telepathy Tapes Season 2 is out, and the film and Season 3 are yet to come.
Discover on-demand videos and docuseries, explore a full schedule of daily live classes, and become part of an incredible community. At Sounds True One, we invite you inward to find your way, your way.